Red and Black's Maidenslave here. Today I'm going to be talking about that new Iron Maiden album, The Book of Souls. So there's definitely some good things about this new Iron Maiden album compared to the last one. And there's definitely still some bad things. First of all, the sound. Finally, Iron Maiden, for the most part, fixed the sound. It's a lot tighter on this album. Secondly, on a few songs on the album, Bruce sings in a lower register, I believe it's D, because a few of these songs were meant to be for a new solo album. So because he sings a little bit lower, by default we definitely get a better vocal performance from Bruce, and it actually sounds like he overdubbed a few parts, which is good. That's what you want to do when you're actually making an album. So right off the bat, I'm enjoying that. But also right off the bat, the album is 92 minutes long. That to me was not a good sign, because it's even longer than Final Frontier, which is one of my biggest complaints, that it's 76 minutes long. Well, guess what? Book of Souls is 92 minutes long. If Eternity Should Fail is decent enough. I think that this was one of the songs that Bruce was going to do for a solo album, so it's a little bit lower. Definitely one of the stronger moments for me on this album. One of the best intros that this band has had in a long time as far as starting an album. But at the same time, he says If Eternity Shall Fail, 16 times during the song? And yeah, I'm just sick of it by the end. Speed of Light is the El Dorado of this album, and I think it's better than El Dorado. When it first starts out, it is questionable, and I remember laughing at it when I first saw it. I watched the video because got the cowbell in there, they got Bruce screaming, and it's just like, hello, no prayer for the dying. What are we doing here? Come on. But once it gets into it, it goes into a pretty interesting riff, I have to say. And musically, it is got to be one of the most impressive songs that this band has done as far as singles, other than Reincarnation of Benjamin Breek, for a long time. So The Great Unknown is very actually similar to a lot of the songs off of the Final Frontier. Intro is way too long. Singing is really bad by Bruce. He's singing way too high. The music is not that strong. And it shouldn't be how long it is, which is like 6 or 7 minutes. The Red and the Black is the strongest Harris epic written since Sign of the Cross. I'm just going to say it right there. And it's definitely a song that I did not think I was going to get off of this album. Aside from the intro, which is completely pointless, this song is pretty awesome. Once it gets going into that gallop, it has the Rime of the Ancient Mariner vibe, but not in a bad way, because it gets away from that very quickly. And it is, in my opinion, probably the strongest song on this entire album, and definitely the one real gem off of this album that I can actually see myself going back to and listening to in the future, which is very rare for new Iron Maiden songs. So kudos to Steve Harris. He still seemingly has a little bit of it. When the Wild River runs deep into the plains of Asgard, it's one of the better songs on this album. First of all, it's shorter. It seems like they did that on this album. They did a long song, they did a short song, long song, short song. So you didn't have a bunch of long songs like they've been doing. Definitely one of the better songs on this album. Nothing special when you compare it to a lot of Iron Maiden's great songs. But the whole musical section there in the middle is one of the highlights for me on this album. The Book of Souls should not be like 10 or 11 minutes, however long it is. It's way too long for what it is. The intro's way too long. It takes just too long to get to the fast part that's pretty much near the end. Death or Glory is alright. I mean, it's one of the shorter tracks on the album, and yeah, it kind of gets back to Old Maiden, I guess. Not as strong as Old Maiden, so I don't know what the hell the point is of that. Wasted Years Part 2, aka Shadows of the Valley, is one of the kind of better moments. Once again, it just takes too damn long to get to anything that's good. So it doesn't really do a good job of inviting you to just keep going back and listening to it. And I don't really care about the whole Wasted Years thing, by the way. I just wish that it didn't have really that long of an intro to begin with. But I guess once it gets into it, it's okay. It's got some of the better musical sections that this band has done a while on it. Tears of a Clown is a very emotional song on paper. I just don't think that Bruce does a very good job of evoking any of the emotion and telling any of the story that the lyrics are trying to tell, which, yeah, it's great lyrics from Steve, and we all know what it's about, but musically and, vocally, it doesn't do really anything for me. And that's pretty much what this song is all about. The only thing that I'm going to say about the Man of Sorrows is that I prefer Man of Sorrows by Bruce Dickinson's solo band. And then we get to the masterpiece that everybody's been talking about with this album, People. Just because it's almost 20 minutes does not mean it's a masterpiece. I mean, come on. This music is written in kind of a suite type form, which a lot of progressive bands will do, which basically means they take kind of a musical sequence and they'll play it throughout a lot of different movements. That's what they did in the song. That aspect makes it pretty interesting. It's pretty different for Iron Maiden, but here's the thing about that. The music's not good. It sounds like something maybe a little kid would write on their piano, and they have to do that throughout the rest of the song. And when the guitars come in and the bass comes in, it sounds really sloppy. It kind of takes me back to the Final Frontier. And then it gets into the music. Once again, very similar to a lot of modern epics written by this band. It feels very pieced together, very Frankenstein, very unorganic, and Bruce's vocal performance is terrible once it gets into it. I'm just going to go ahead and say it, This is Bruce's song. This is probably going to be a song that he's going to be remembered for the most because of how long it is and how epic it is. But the awful truth about it is the fact that this has to be one of the worst vocal performances Bruce has ever done once it actually gets into it. He can't sing that high anymore. That's the bottom line. Here's the other thing. I don't care about the subject matter. The Empire of the Clouds. It's about a blimp. It's about a blimp, people, for 20 minutes. I don't care. I'm sorry. I just don't give a crap about it. Definitely just a weak song. It shouldn't even be on the album, and obviously nobody had the balls to tell them that it shouldn't be on the album. So overall, the Book of Souls is better than the Final Frontier, but that doesn't mean that it's good. Final Frontier has to be the worst Iron Maiden album of all time. They definitely fixed a few things, but they definitely kept a few weaknesses, and they definitely added a few more bad things. So I'm going to give the Book of Souls by Iron Maiden a 5 out of 10. I'll see you guys later.